markets, we've reached we are at the day's low, 25 odd points down, just about 5 points away from the lowest point. So we are just in and around that level. But in the morning, 8,013 was just a level that we touched. It's not something that we were there, convincingly. So this is looking in slightly lower. 8,000 probably should now just look like a formality, just about 15 to 16 points away from 8,000 level. Skipper Limited, it got listed on NSE in May this year. It was, of course, listed on BSE for a while now, but after it got listed on NSE, it did see some sort of action happening in. Devesh Bansal, director at Skipper Limited, now joins us from Calcutta. Good morning, Devesh. Can you first start by giving us an overview of the company, what essentially the company does, what are the sort of businesses that you are in, and what is the contribution of these businesses?
Yeah, good morning, Pankaj. So, Skipper Limited essentially is into two major verticals. There's the power T&D segment, which falls under the engineering products segment, and the water business, which consists mostly of the PVC pipe business. 85% of the revenue of the company currently comes from the power T&D business. We are the third largest manufacturer, or amongst the top three manufacturers of power T&D equipment, namely towers and distribution poles. We are also seeing very aggressive growth in the PVC pipe business. Last year, the company clocked a turnover of over 1,400 crores, which is a big jump from 2002 till now. The company has seen very robust growth. In 2002, the company had a top line of less than about 10 crores. So in the last 12 years, we've seen this very robust growth happening in the company.
So let's first look at the power T&D business. What is the sort of manufacturing portfolio that you have? What essentially do you offer to your clients?
So the company makes transmission towers in a big way. The company now has a nameplate capacity of about 175,000 tons per annum, which is one of the top three in the country right now. Our biggest customer is, of course, Power Grid Corporation in India. We also entered into the international space by signing in contracts from Latin America, Europe, as well as Africa in the last couple of years. Going forward, the company is going to be very, very focused both on the domestic as well as the international front. And almost about 40% plus of our revenues are expected to come from the international business going forward. On the distribution side, the company is also one of the largest manufacturers of poles, which are used for 33 kV and below. And the company now focuses mostly on 400 kV and above on the transmission side. So the competition is lower, and we're able to extract a much higher EBITDA number because of lower competition as well as larger project sizes in those segments.
What can you just tell us about the international market, which you said that you expect growth to come in? Will it largely be coming in from you foraying into different markets? When did you go to the international market? Which are the current key international markets that you're present in?
Sure. So about a year and a half back, the company entered into the Latin American market. The company has signed a long-term alliance agreement with one of the largest transmission systems operator in Latin America for the countries of Colombia, Chile, and Peru. And these contracts are for about 36 months. And the first year was spent essentially on the engineering, designing, and testing of the towers that we are going to be exporting. And the actual exports have actually started over the last 3 to 4 months. And the Latin American market is a very interesting market for us because from the Indian perspective, it's a largely unpenetrated market. So we see very high growth opportunities in that market going forward. But apart from that, the company has also got orders from Europe as well as from Africa, which are fairly crowded markets, but then we also see very good opportunities over there.
How do you manage the recent volatile moves in the currency, especially in the Latin American markets? Currency over there has been quite volatile.
So the company, as a policy, follows a very safe policy in terms of our currency exposures. We hedge all our contracts right on day one with forward contracts, so we are fairly insulated from the currency movements. In the duration that we've seen, the dollar has actually gone up and down, but we've been completely protected from it because all our contracts are now forward hedged.
Okay, let's talk about the earnings. You mentioned about the sales of the company being about 1,450 crores plus in this financial year, but the growth in EBITDA was about 93%. Where did the margin expansion come in from? Where did you manage to save cost?
So it's not so much about saving cost. Last year was a crucial turning point for the company as well. If you see, our EBITDA numbers actually jumped from about less than 11% to more than 16% in the last 2 years. It's been largely because of us getting out of one of the divisions which the company had, which was the steel tubes division. This was a division which was contributing to more than about 300 crores in our top line, but very little in our bottom line. So that was really dragging down the EBITDA numbers to a large extent. And by discontinuing that business, so the turnover from that has gone from about 300 crores to less than 100 crores in the last year. And we expect it to completely get discontinued in this financial year. By reducing this exposure, the company has managed to really unlock the real numbers which our power T&D and the PVC business allows us. Apart from that, another major shift has been the entrance into the international markets, which is really going to help the company expand its power T&D business also in a very big way.
Okay, so we spoke about the international market, how the margins are increasing because you're focusing in on high margin business. You mentioned that Power Grid is one of your biggest clients. We just spoke to the management some time back after their results, that is Power Grid, and they said that they are expecting capitalization or very, very strong capitalization going in FY16 and 17. How do you plan to gain in from that? How do you see your market share increasing without much price damage?
So as a company, we offer some of the most competitive, this is mainly due to our locational advantages in East. We are very close to the raw material source, and our EBITDA numbers are one of the highest in the industry. Our strike rate as well, as compared to the number of contracts that we bid for and the number of contracts that we secure, it's one of the highest in the industry right now. So the government has very large expansion plans in terms of the transmission and distribution sector in this year itself. We've seen statements from the Power Ministry talking about almost 1 lakh crore rupees of investments going into this sector over the next 6 months. Any investment that comes in, we are a sure shot name to be reckoned with in this. We hope to get a large portion of this going forward. We are very well positioned also. Another interesting segment is, of course, the Northeast infrastructure upliftment that the government is talking about. They're talking about investing almost about 10,000 crores in the upliftment of the power T&D infrastructure over there. And that gives us a virtual monopoly over that business because we are definitely the largest players in Eastern India.
PVC pipes, can you just talk about that business? What's the capacity over there? Which is the markets you're catering to? Is it very regional at this point of time?
So PVC is one of the newer divisions of the company. The company only got into it in 2010. Till now, we've been a regional player. We are a good, we are a very strong brand in the Eastern Indian part of the market. But the company now decided to expand geographically as well. So one captive consumption has already come up in Ahmedabad in April 2015. And we expect to see 2 more units coming up within Q2 of this year. One is in North India near Delhi, and one is in Guwahati for the Northeast market. By year end, we hope to take our capacity to almost 40,000 tons from 10,000 tons, which it was last year. And going forward, also the company has very aggressive plans when it comes to the PVC business.
Right, sir. Thank you so much.
Just to add on.
Right, sir. Go ahead.
So interestingly, another major announcement that was made in the PVC business in the last week was a tie-up with 2 of the global giants in this business. One was Sekisui from Japan, and the other was Wavin from Europe, which have basically tied up with Skipper to enter into the Indian market with their products. And we hope to offer very good plumbing solutions for our PVC pipe customers in the construction industry with these.
Right. Thank you so much for joining and explaining. We'll wait and watch how that JV in the PVC pipe business also helps going in the future. Let's take a break. Markets absolutely flat, 8,020, 25 odd points in terms of Nifty. On the other side of this break, we'll be talking to Divakar Gupta, a former banker, as